Hey, if I had a wager, I'd say, you are here. Are you here? Yeah, you're the you we had in mind, and the here is here. The Paul Leslie Hour, your source for interviews and content you can't get anywhere else. Hey, we got something from the archives. That means it's old. It comes from the way back machine. It's an interview and unplugged acoustic vocal performance with Gene Mitchell, recorded on location in Panama City Beach, Florida. Gene Mitchell was the first guest to appear 3 times on Paul's old radio show way back when. Gene's a singer, songwriter, entertainer, of course, and recording artist. Now, on this episode, Gene Mitchell will be giving us a swing around the islands. Gene writes songs about tropical islands, tropical beaches, tropical drinks, sailing, island adventure, and romance. You beginning to see a theme here? Well, at the time of this taping, way back when, Gene had released a total of 10 albums featuring some of the best musicians around. He's continued making even more albums, and in our opinion, they're all pure enjoyment. Check out GeneMitchell.com. Get more information about our special guests. Now, this show will feature the storytelling of Gene Mitchell, as you may expect. But in addition to Paul's conversation with Gene Mitchell, there's an added bonus. Gene will be giving you an unplugged acoustic vocal performance. Oh, you're going to love this. You can tune into this show pretty much anywhere, but did you know you can listen on YouTube also? Some of you probably are listening there right now. Please consider subscribing to the Paul Leslie YouTube channel. It's a great way to keep up with all of our content as Paul and many of you listeners roll into 20 years. 20 years on the air. Oh, ring that bell, baby. Bing, bing. Well, I'm ready to hear from Gene. Gene, the dancing machine. Let's listen together.
It is with great pleasure that we're here in Panama City Beach with Mr. Gene Mitchell. Gene Mitchell is a singer, songwriter, and guitarist. He's the man behind Sailor Boy Records and Sailor Boy Publishing. And I'll go on the record, I've said this many times and I'm saying it again now. There are a lot of great artists that are making this island music, but Gene Mitchell is the cream of the crop. So thank you so much for making the time to do this interview and also playing some acoustic songs for our listening audience.
I appreciate being here. I've never been called cream before, but hey, whatever works.
Well, first of all, thanks for the cocktails. Thanks for the interview. You have a brand new album out, and I was hoping you could just tell us a little bit about the album.
Well, the album is called Island Swing. It's my 10th release, and I just thought about all the islands I have been to over the years, and sometimes when I'm performing live, I do a swing around the islands and tell people, oh, this is my documentary from Jamaica. This is my documentary from Cuba. And so I said, maybe I should call the album Island Swing and include some of the places I've been, some of the stories. So it's actually a swing around the islands. Love, romance, and sailing. You know, you can't beat that. Oh, adult beverages. Throw those in. Yeah. Tropical drinks.
I wanted you to tell us a little bit about how you became an island musician. For some of our listeners that maybe aren't familiar with your catalog of work, how did you find your way into this genre of music?
Well, I was always rock and roll top 40 bands, and then I was stationed in Hawaii and listened to Cecilio and Capono and Kalapana, and they were kind of an island jazz. But living in the islands, your lyrics will change immediately. And actually, when I left Hawaii, it wasn't until I went back to Puerto Rico that I really began looking at some of the songs I had written in Hawaii and sailing around the South Pacific, that I realized that a lot of my songs had island themes to them, but I wasn't recording them that way. I wasn't using steel drums. I was still kind of using the basic jazz or rock and roll formula. So I actually gone back and revisited some of those songs. But that was the album's concept, is I'm going on a swing around the islands. Here are the places that I'm going. And then I concluded, of course, with You With Me, which was kind of thing. Hey, next time I go to islands, come with me.
Well, tell us about that title track, Island Swing.
Island Swing, I actually was sitting on a porch swing right out there in my backyard, actually, and watching the sunset, and I thought, this would be great if this was down in the Caribbean. And I thought, the Island Swing actually originated when I wrote Coconut Jazz on Dancing on the Beach. I thought that was kind of a swing jazz song, and I thought, well, maybe I'd do a whole album of swing jazzy music, and I call it Island Swing. And then the story started developing about the swing being in the island and the swingy music. But, I'm not really into swing, and as the album and the songs developed, I went back to the calypso and the kind of smooth jazz and pop jazz formula, and that lyrics to the song actually took on more of a pop jazz song. And then I thought, I don't have to make this album about swing music. It's a swing around the islands. That's it.
Well, maybe you'd like to play the song Acoustic for all the listeners out there.
Hey, Island Swing's one of my favorite. Let's give it a go.
It's a sunny day in the islands. The porch swing begins to swing. My arms around you and we're both smiling. It feels good to get away. Time to relax, no need to hurry. This tropical place brings relief. Life is so calm here, there's no need to worry. I'm just so glad that we've got the summer wind behind us, blowing our dreams upon the sea. The sun is shining, you're sitting here beside me. I feel like a king in my island suite. Looking back on all of our memories from the first time that we met, I close my eyes and my mind sends me to places I'll never forget. All of the good times, all of the laughter made it easy for me to believe your love was just what I was after. Now I'm so glad that we've got the summer wind behind us, blowing our dreams upon the sea. The sun is shining, you're sitting here beside me. I feel like a king in my island suite. Every now and then we need to get away somewhere, reflect on all our past and all the love we shared, make our plans to do all that we have dreamed. And it's amazing how far into the future we can see, sitting in this island suite. We've got the summer wind behind us, blowing our dreams upon the sea. The sun is shining, you're sitting here beside me. I feel like a king in my island suite. The sun is shining, you're sitting here beside me. I feel like a king in my island suite.
I had the opportunity with my good Confederate Ben Eldridge to have a couple cocktails with you on your tiki bar. Let me just say that the house of Gene Mitchell it's a destination in and of itself. But I'm wondering, what is your day-to-day drink? What is your pleasure?
Rum and Coca-Cola. Myers Rum and Coke. That's probably 90% of the time. I do enjoy a good top shelf margarita. Rum punch, always. A rum runners, not frozen, one on the rocks. Get them frozen, it's full of ice. It's just ice. And then if I'm going out to a real nice dinner, of course, it's red wine, and it's a Grey Goose martini, straight up, not dirty, no vermouth, just straight up.
Well, on that note, you have to tell us about the song Liquid Lunch on the new album.
Liquid Lunch. Now, we got invited to go to St. Martin with a couple locally here, and he's actually the guy I wrote the song about, rum phonics, because he actually was speaking rum phonics when I got the idea about, and I backed him up. I said, "You're speaking rum phonics," but he said, "Don't mention his name," because he's a prominent vice president of one of the local banks. So on the way down there, I said, "Well, tell me a little bit about St. Martin." And he goes, "Oh, all these bars down there, they make this rum punch, and they all got different recipes, and they all think they've got the best rum punch." So I wrote the chorus immediately. The first night we did go to Toppers, and there was a guy behind the bar named Julio, really serving the rum punch in a mason jar. And I wrote the first verse, and the next night we went to the wharf. My friend kept asking the band to play Three Little Birds by Bob Marley, and they played a lot of Bob Marley. And so in there I talk about "We'll Fly Away," drinking their rum punch like three little birds on a sunny day. Wrote that the second night, and then the last verse, we went to Sunset Bar, and you can listen to the song, but it's where the airplanes land right over your head. The last verse, I said, I need to sum it up. So on the way to the airport, we looked in the refrigerator, and we only had a little bit of fruit juice left, but we had plenty of Captain Morgan and the Captain Morgan Premium Stock and Myers. So it was about a 90% ratio of rum to the rum punch, or the actual punch. Then we had a little bit of orange juice and a little bit of cranberry juice left, and Ron said, "Oh, these are the best ones." And so I came up with it. The best rum punch we made on our own. So that's where the song originated, and I actually finished writing it right there in St. Martin.
Would you like to play the song for all the listeners out there?
Oh, sure. I play this one every night. Here we go.
Martin, you've got to go down to Toppers and meet Julio. You'll always find him behind the bar. He serves your rum punch in a mason jar. We're bar hopping on St. Martin. Every bar has a different rum punch. We'll save our appetites for later tonight. Today we'll have a liquid lunch. Over at the wharf, you've got to see that reggae band playing Bob Marley. You drink their rum punch and you fly away like three little birds on a sunny day. We're bar hopping on St. Martin. Every bar has a different rum punch. We'll save our appetites for later tonight. Today we'll have a liquid lunch. Over by the airport at the Sunset Bar, by the sea and the sand, you can drink rum punch on the deck and watch the big planes land. But it seemed like every time a plane's wheels touched the ground, we were saying, "Hey bartender, get us another round." All around St. Martin, from the French to the Dutch, every bar claimed they had the best rum punch. But we all agreed the night before we went home, the best rum punch we made on our own. We're bar hopping on St. Martin. Every bar has a different rum punch. We'll save our appetites for later tonight. Today we'll have a liquid lunch. We're bar hopping on St. Martin. Every bar has a different rum punch. We'll save our appetites for later tonight. Today we'll have a liquid lunch. We'll save our appetites for later tonight. Today we'll have a liquid lunch.
The name of your publishing company is Sailor Boy Publishing, and your albums are on Sailor Boy Records. I wanted you to tell everyone out there about how being in the Navy influenced you as a person and how it has reflected on your life.
Well, influenced me as a person. I came from South Georgia. I was raised on the beaches around Jekyll Island, St. Simons, but I wanted to see the world, and I did. But one of the things is the Navy put me through college, and so I went through college while in the Navy and took courses from several different places. I was in Hawaii, I was in Chicago, and different places. So there was a lot of life experience with traveling around as well as taking the courses, and changed me as a person. I think it probably just made me discover and understand a little bit about who I was already, because I loved the beach and I loved being outside. I was always loving music and playing music since I was 4 years old. Of course, my major was in psychology, so I won't get too much into analyzing myself. The Navy was great for me. I got to see a lot of places. I went to 34 countries while I was in the Navy, including the South Pacific Islands, Caribbean, the Orient, all the Mediterranean, and that's a life-changing experience. It gives you a lot of stories and a lot of ideas to create the song titles, or write a book if you wanted to. There's a lot that goes into 21 years traveling around the world.
I was hoping you could play the song Waimea and also tell us about that song.
Waimea. I remember listening to Cecilio and Capono, and they had a song called, it was about getting out in the country. And I started realizing through their songs that Waikiki and Honolulu, that was where the tourists went. But their idea of the country was to get out into the middle of the island, the North Shore, and get away from all the crowds. And so I took my guitar, and I actually met a girl a couple of nights before. I said, let's go over there. And we actually rode the bus. The bus system was great back then. Rode over, and I remember getting off. I didn't have any shoes on, which you could do that in Hawaii. And the pavement was really hot, and I couldn't wait to get to the grass. But I actually wrote the song out there, and it was a song about Waimea Falls, the state park. I think it's a state park, but I know it's a park, and there are the birds around and the waterfall, and it was just a very lovely day. She was with me. We didn't really fall in love, but I'm a writer, so I have to finish up the story. But I wrote that back in 1979, and my wife heard the song, and it was on an old cassette just with me and the guitar. And she said, that's a really great song. You should put it on Island Swing. And I said, well, it was really written in 1979, so I really wrote it kind of that Hawaiian contemporary sound, which was really a lot like Pablo Cruz and like Miami Sound Machine. And so talking with the producer, Doug DeForest, I said, if we could do this and do it Pablo Cruz, Miami Sound Machine, guitars and horns, it would really work. And it really did come out really good on the CD. Of course, right now you'll hear it just with the guitar and me singing it.
Walking hand in hand with my baby on the road to Waimea. Summer morning, sun is hot, and with bare feet it's really not too cool at all. She's my very special lady, and she almost drives me crazy every time I get around. She lifts my feet up off the ground, I feel so tall. Who's to say that I don't get around when I love so much getting out of the town? Away from Waikiki, the crowds get to me and always bring me down. Back in the city, I won't be seen. Waimea, you're my island dream. Summertime in Waimea makes me feel I've got to say I'm really digging on your smile. I'm drifting off for miles and miles, I feel so high. Peacocks running here and there, the smell of flowers in the air. Those are just the little things that make me feel like I have wings so I can fly. Who's to say that I don't get around when I love so much getting out of the town? Away from Waikiki, the crowds get to me and always bring me down. Back in the city, I won't be seen. Waimea, you're my island dream. Got to get away from the city living and all those flashing neon lights. I'd rather have that countryside of life. Yeah, 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 yeah. Rainbow in the noontime sky really turns me on until I have to say I love you, girl. My head is spinning like a whirlwind round and round. Summer afternoon is breezy, got me feeling oh so easy. I'm really digging on your love. I'm floating on the clouds above, I can't come down. Who's to say that I don't get around when I love so much getting out of the town? Away from Waikiki, the crowds get to me and always bring me down. Back in the city, I won't be seen. Waimea, you're my island dream. Waimea, you're my island dream. Waimea, you're my island dream.
There's a song that caught my ear because, in part, you mentioned the Philippine Islands, and some of the listeners out there may not know that I grew up in part in the Philippines. So tell us about the song You With Me.
You With Me was actually the last song that I wrote for the album, and when I'm writing an album, I like the first song to be an introductory chapter, like a book, and the album kind of takes you through the ideas and what I'm wanting the listener to feel and hear. And You With Me, since I've gone around the swing around the islands, I was saying to my fans, and as a singer to your loved one, the next time I do this, I want you to go with me, because all these places I remember going early in my life, down in the South Pacific, I was alone. I mean, you can always have a great time, but you always think this would have been so much better if someone was with me that I cared about, that I loved, that I could share this with them. And so that's where the idea came, and I said this would make a nice song for the closing chapter of the album itself. And so I take you on a swing around the islands and then basically say, hey, next time, go with me. And you can go with me. All you gotta do is put the album on. You can mentally go with me anyway. So that's where the idea came from. It was actually the closing song.
Do you have any memories from the Philippine Islands?
We were stationed in Hawaii, and we went to the Philippines. My first impression of it was I couldn't believe how tropical it was, because you think of the Philippines and you think of Oriental things, but you start getting down to the Philippines and down to Okinawa and Indonesia, and it's just so tropical. I remember just seeing all the big palm trees, and I do remember that a friend of mine, Bill, we would always just get out of the areas that were right there where the tourists were and right there where everything, the shipyard or the airport, just get away from that. We would try our best to find somebody to take us inland, take us somewhere where regular people go, the local people go. And that's what I remember, going out and finding the little bars that Filipino guys, they play great music. They all had the very heavy accent, so when I got up, they always wanted me to get up and sing because I didn't have the accent. But everywhere I went, I remember playing with fellow musicians, and that was one of my main purposes. I remember them, they played all the music from America, they were very good at it. That was my impressions of the Philippines. I said, I can't believe this place is very, very tropical. And it's an island to itself. It's a country within itself. And that's one thing about the South Pacific. Every island you go to, you're in a different country. So you can rack up 10 countries with just 10 short visits on islands. So anyway, that was my best memory about it, playing with the musicians and how tropical it was.
Well, let's hear the song, You With Me, our special guest, Gene Mitchell.
I'll take you to many islands. Let's go.
I've been to so many islands, from the Caribbean to the South Pacific shores. But every time I go to the islands, get this feeling there could be so much more. There's still one thing I miss, and I know just what it is, so I must tell you this. You and me, that's the way it should always be. Together on an island somewhere out on the crystal sea. I have dreamed so many times and really to believe that next time I'm in the islands it will be you with me. From Puerto Rico down to Aruba, Fiji all the way up to the Hawaiian Isles. Even when in Jamaica or in Cuba, all the fun and sunshine no longer holds my smile. There's still one thing I miss, and I know just what it is, so I must tell you this. You and me, that's the way it should always be. Together on an island somewhere out on a crystal sea. I have dreamed so many times and really to believe that next time I'm in the islands it will be you with me. Catalina to the Philippines, the Bahamas to the Grenadines, and all the islands in between. None of them mean a thing if you're not there to share it all with me. You and me, that's the way it should always be. Together on an island somewhere out on the crystal sea. I have dreamed so many times and really to believe that next time I'm in the islands it will be you with me. The next time I'm in the islands it will be you with me.
You were mentioning a little while ago about Henry Capono. He is a great musician, and I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about who your influences are, because it seems like a lot of the guys that are doing trop rock, their main influence is, of course, Jimmy Buffett. But I think that in some ways, like, you know, you're influenced by these Hawaiians. I think they might be missing, like, for example, I think people are overlooking Don Ho especially, and Harry Belafonte. But tell us about your influences as a songwriter.
Well, when I lived on the coast of Georgia as a kid, late at night after the local radio stations went off, you could actually pick up Cuba. And I couldn't understand Spanish at the time, but that beat was always there. I actually played drums, and then I played bass guitar. I played in top 40 bands. When I started playing guitar, you know, the first songs you learned were, you know, American Eagle and Neil Young and those kind of songs. But when I got to Hawaii, I started learning those songs, which were more of a jazz, pop-based music. And I listened to a lot of Cecilio and Capono and Kalapana and those local musicians. Don Ho, I've got the album. He was more of the kind of Frank Sinatra style. Harry Belafonte was really that, it was really a good Caribbean beat. There's some great songs there. My first Jimmy Buffett album I didn't buy, I think, until 1995 or 96, was Fruitcakes, is because I was writing, and the one of the producers that was in the studio in L.A. with me said, "You should send this to Jimmy Buffett." I said, "Is he still making records?" He's always got one coming out every year. So he gave me the information. I think he was with MCA at the time, and Mike Utley called back and said, well, he liked the song, but the next album was going to be more eclectic. Now, as a songwriter, I got somebody from the band actually called me. I bought the Fruitcake album, and I said, well, these are, some clever songs. So I wrote Caribbean Cowboy, Rum and Coca-Cola, and some of those songs with an effort that I thought I would pitch them to Jimmy Buffett. But his album was totally different than that because he was all over the place on albums. And I just went back, I just fell back into the old saying everybody tells you as a musician, you've got to be who you are. And I just kept with that very strong Hawaiian contemporary influence. As a matter of fact, I email with Henry Capono now. Because I actually gave him credit on the album and sent it out to him. And in fact, he sent me a T-shirt. And still got it in the truck from the post office 2 days ago. Yeah. So, and that was where my influences were. I am influenced a lot by Jimmy Buffett, play at Margaritaville, and I listen. The most I'm influenced not by his writing or his lyrics, but his ability to take and do what's called trop rock, which is any kind of style. It's not just calypso. It can be jazz, it can be rock, it can be country, it can be folk, as long as it's got that idea of escapism. And so the lesson I learned from Jimmy Buffett and the influence I got from him is he sells escapism.
Right.
He writes about it, and he lives it. So just like you mentioned, got the tiki bar out back, I have to live it to experience it. So, I live it as much as possible because that's where I get the ideas. The one thing that I always try to do, I know Jimmy, he sings about a lot of things, and he's been so many places and been out to Africa. I try to stay in the trenches and write from the trenches. I'm the guy at the bar with you having a drink. I don't want to work so hard, to be that successful. He worked very, very hard and very, very long. And I don't want to really do that at this point in my life unless it, just falls into my lap. But I'm very comfortable with just writing, and like I say, writing from the trenches. I'm right there with you, having that cocktail.
That's very insightful, what you just said, because it does seem like he has moved away from the tropics. He's become totally like his own genre of music.
He has, and way back in the day, when you read how, he really tried to make it in Nashville, and that formula of getting everyone to sing with him is the same formula Clive Davis used with Santana, and it worked, and it got him a Grammy, and he deserved it. And now my song, one day he's going to win a Grammy, I have to sing it. Hey, he finally won the Grammy. Cuba Groove, I mentioned that about him.
Right.
But and go ahead.
You predicted it. I wanted to talk about this song that you wrote called Beauty and the Beach, where the sailor boy has met his beach girl. So tell us about that song. It's a great song.
Yeah, I came up with a title. It's kind of a twist on words. Sometimes you start with a title. We went out to the beach. I love the beach. My wife loves the beach, and that's how we met. And, finally, someone that was raised the same area I was in the country, same age, we grew up with the same music, same politics, same everything, So she likes the beach, beautiful girl. I thought, wow, I should have Beauty and the Beach. That would work. And actually, I think I wrote the first verse first. I was sitting in there in the gym, which is all the gym, and she came in and she opens the blinds every morning. And she was opening, and I'm just playing the song, and I started off with that. She opens the blinds, and I took it from there. And then we were out on the beach, and I was looking at her, and she was reading a book, and I said, she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm writing in my head. And I actually, the second verse, you'll notice, I'm writing exactly what I'm observing her doing. And then I think later on, we were on the balcony at a friend's condo, and I said, let's go down and walk on the beach. And that's for the third verse, because I'm always kind of putting words together. I should write them down more, because I did that the other night. I couldn't remember what I thought the night before. And I think I mentioned something about the canvas of my life. You got to start with a base, and that's what it is. It's the love of the beach, the love of a woman, and both of you loving the same thing, and that's the canvas of my life. So that's where the song came from. And here's to Teresa. If you want me to play it, I'll have to dedicate it to Teresa.
Let's hear it.
She opens the window blinds, takes a look at the beach outside. There's a sparkle in her eyes. She is finally where she belongs. Ever since she was a little child, the ocean made her smile. She likes seeing for miles and miles and can stare at it all day long. It's one thing to have a view of the beach, another a beautiful girl. But when you got beauty and the beach, you got the best of both worlds. I've got one of each, beauty and the beach. She gently rubs on sunscreen, her body soft yet lean. Lying beside her, it's quite a scene. Wow, I'm a lucky man. With her visor pulled down low, sunglasses, she's taking it slow. What she's reading, I don't know. Then she reaches out and touches my hand. It's one thing to have a view of the beach, another a beautiful girl. But when you got beauty and the beach, you got the best of both worlds. I've got one of each, beauty and the beach. When I think of all I've got, it's a wonderful thing. Life on the beach, a beautiful girl, friends and family, and all the joy life brings, painted in the songs I sing, the canvas of my life, beauty and the beach. Sunset from the balcony, her hair is blown by a southern breeze. Then she turns and says to me, let's walk on the beach a while. It's here she is right at home, bare feet in the sand and foam. She has a beauty I've never known. I am captured by her smile. It's one thing to have a view of the beach, another a beautiful girl. But when you got beauty and the beach, you got the best of both worlds. I've got one of each, beauty and the beach. I'm so glad I've got one of each, beauty and the beach.
There's one song that I have to hear. I think this song is so clever on many different levels. I could hear Kenny Chesney doing this. Kenny Chesney has been doing so much of the island kind of music lately. More so than Jimmy Buffett, I would say. But this song is so clever because it captures the many different personalities of people. That song is called Make Mine a Pina Colada, and I hope you can tell us about it and also play it for us.
Well, looking around when you're playing, 5 or 6 nights a week, you look around the audience and you see what people are drinking. And I just noticed one night that, I play in a lot of tiki bars. Here's a girl, she's like, in a black dress and she's dressed so nice, but she's having a martini. And here's a guy, he's got cowboy boots on, he's drinking them, a Bud Light in a bottle. And I started saying, there's somebody getting married. And I thought, people dress the way they drink. Make mine a pina colada because I want something that represents the tropics. So that's where I came up with the title, and I use those references, and then for the verses, and then the last verse, I kind of included all my friends and some of the parrot heads. They all like different Coronas. Land Shark for Jimmy. They like the Hawaiian shirts. They like the boats and the sailing and all. So you'll notice all my songs. The last verse really kind of sums the song up because as a songwriter, you have to conclude that song and wrap it up. It's like the last chapter of the book. Like the last song on the CD is the last chapter of the CD.
What you just said about Land Shark, it reminds me of when we did that on-air beer sampling.
and I drank it right out there in that bar. In fact, I think I kept the last empty. I think it's up under the bar. I think I kept it underneath there. Yeah, I did.
Do you remember that the chair broke from under me and I fell on the ground? Do you remember?
No, I remember you said that. I didn't know if it was a land shark or not.
It literally did. The chair broke. But anyways, I've lost a little weight since then. But let's hear the song, Make Mine a Pina Colada.
All right. You got the mix, I got the song. Let's go.
She likes an olive with a martini, cashmere sweater and Italian boots. Well, I like style, but where I'm going, they wear flip-flops and a bathing suit. So make mine a pina colada. I've been working too hard, now I've gotta take a chance on life and have a little fun. I've got some money in my pocket and a one-way ticket to the tropics. So bartender, make mine a pina colada. He likes his beer in a long neck bottle, belt buckle and a cowboy hat. Well, I like Willie and Waylon too, but at this moment, I'm not feeling like that. So make mine a pina colada. I've been working too hard, now I've gotta take a chance on life and have a little fun. I've got some money in my pocket and a one-way ticket to the tropics. So bartender, make mine a pina colada. That couple toast their glasses of champagne, wedding dress and a rented tux. One day I might find myself in that position, but now I'll just wish them luck. Good luck. So make mine a pina colada. I've been working too hard, now I've gotta take a chance on life and have a little fun. Let's have some fun. Paul, go make us a pina colada. Ah, 2 pina coladas. Excellent. They like margaritas and Coronas, Hawaiian shirts and tropical tales, both talking songs of the islands. Now that's a group I can fit in quite well. So make mine a pina colada. I've been working too hard, now I've gotta take a chance on life and have a little fun. I've got some money in my pocket and a one-way ticket to the tropics. So bartender, make mine a pina colada. Make mine a pina colada.
It is our pleasure to present the conclusion of our interview with Sailor Boy Records recording artist Gene Mitchell. Well, Gene Mitchell, it has been a real pleasure talking to you. It's a real honor. I'm a big fan of your work. All the listeners out there can check out genemitchell.com, and they can also visit bigcoconutfanclub.com. But before you go, I was hoping you could share a little bit of your philosophy. You're a man that's lived your dreams, and not everybody can say that they have their own business and they make music and play concerts. So what would you like to say to all the people that are listening?
I'd say if you hit the lotto and you quit your job, you're in the wrong job. You've got to love what you do to be at your best. And always be true to yourself and do what makes you feel good and what makes you happy. And there's enough people in the world that you'll have an audience or friends that want the same thing.
That was great. Thank you.
We thank you and appreciate you dropping in for the Paul Leslie Hour today. You know, you can help the Paul Leslie Hour in our mission to provide independent media content like this by visiting www.thepaulleslie.com/support. We truly thank you. This is your announcer speaking. Performance of The Entertainer intro song and Corina Corina outro song, courtesy of John Primorano. Well, that's it for today. So until next time, be safe and be good.